Okay, right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September meeting of Liss Parish Council Planning Committee. And we'll begin with apologies, please, Lizzie.
So Councillor Wilson, Councillor Gerard, Councillor Edwards and Councillor Hargreaves have apologised.
Okay, thank you. We now need to do the confirmation of attendance and declarations of interest as per the new regulations. So I'll begin with me. I am Councillor Keith Budden. I am chairman of Liss Parish Council Planning Committee. I am present. I have read the agenda and any supplementary papers, and I have no interest to declare in any item on the agenda this evening. Claire.
I'm Councillor Claire Williams, a member of the Liss Parish Council. I've read the agenda and have no interest to declare in any of the items to discuss this evening.
Thank you. Sue?
I'm Sue Halstead. I'm a co-opted member of Liss Parish Council Planning Committee. I confirm that I have read the agenda and I have no interest to declare. But as a co-opted member of the committee, I will not be voting on any of the applications.
Thank you, Sue. Sheila? You're on mute, Sheila. Let me try and see if I can unmute you from this end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm Sheila Baldwin, a member of Liss Parish Council. I confirm that I've read the agenda and have no interest to declare for any of the application.
Okay, thank you. And Howard?
I'm Howard Lindsley. I'm a Liss Parish Councillor. I have read the agenda and all the documents available, and I have no interest to declare.
Thank you. And we should also say that also in attendance is Lizzie Keeling, who's clerking the meeting. Okay, so we move on to item 3, approval of the minutes of the meeting of the 26th of August. They've been circulated. Can I have someone to propose the minutes, please? Claire?
I'm happy. I will.
Howard, second. Everyone happy with them? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so any matters arising from the minutes? I have just one, which is it's at the end of, well, it actually appears at the end of P31620, which was about the land adjacent to Mel's house. And I've spoken to the officer concerned, who says that as soon as they have details of the materials and so on, then they will let us see them. That's the only action that I have from the minutes. So unless anyone's got anything else. No. Okay. So questions from members of the public. We don't have any. We have a no, nothing from there. So we move on to the applications for consultation. And the first one is 15 Rodderbank Farm Lane in Liss, which is a single-storey rear extension as amended by further information received on the 9th of August and plans received on the 1st of September. Lizzie, can you bring up the plans?
Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can I say, when I looked at these documents, they all seem to say not available.
Oh, okay.
And I noticed that there's already been a comment put in by Liss Parish Council.
There has, yeah. This is only because they were asked to provide some more information, which they've now provided.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it. My reading was that I don't think it affects anything that we actually commented on. There are a few comments from neighbours which you were seeing. The main concern seems to be over drainage, but our drainage consultant at East Hants says that he's now happy with the proposed solution. And the only issue that he raised was that the proposed extension will be built over a Southern Water sewage pipe. But I mean, that's a legal issue between the householder and Southern Water. That's not anything for us to get involved in. So are we happy that our comments from last time still stand? Does anyone want to add anything? Sue?
I think we should say that we've got no objection, providing that the drainage solution recommended is carried out.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Because it's clearly the most critical point. And
Yeah.
there was the dark night sky thing just to cover.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. So everyone else happy with that?
Well, I haven't seen the documents because I worked through them, and I just got a message saying documents not available.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know why that would.
I can't guarantee I got to the end, or I might have given up 3/4 of the way through, but
okay, well, I mean it's something we commented on last time on this one, Howard, and nothing substantial has changed. So
no, okay.
A bit of a difficult one, Howard, because we're actually at quorum at this meeting, so we kind of need you voting. Otherwise, we won't reach quorum.
I don't have to vote. I don't actually have to vote yes or no. I can abstain. I don't think that affects the quorum, does it?
no, I don't think it does, because you're still voting, aren't you? You're still making a conscious decision. So I think that's fine. Okay, so I'll take it then, since there's only a few of us, I didn't see everybody's face at the same time. So I'm assuming we're happy with just what Sue said and what we said last time on that one. In which case we move on to 13 Highfield Gardens, which is alterations to existing conservatory, new hardwood doors, windows and gable end with slate roofing, replacing the existing glazed panels. Anything they want to say on this one? No.
Well,
So
just
Sheila, sorry.
Oh, well, just that they say that they're replacing glazing with slate roofing. So in fact, that will protect the dark night skies.
Yes, yeah.
Even more. So,
and I mean, my feeling was that since it's the same footprint and it's not really any different to what's there, it's really just just renewing what's there. I couldn't see any problem with that. So unless anyone indicates otherwise, I'm going to say that we have no objection on this one. Yeah. Okay.
No objection from me.
Okay. Thanks, Howard. So then we move on to probably what is the main application tonight, I guess, which is Forest Brow Residential Home, 63 Forest Road, which is a 2-story building to provide an increase of 24 bedrooms with related servicing, parking and landscaping following demolition of an existing outbuilding store and minor amendments to the existing home. Now, those of us who've been on the committee a while remember that we've been out to look at this site, and there have been, I think, 2 previous applications for extensions onto this building, but this one's a bit different in that it's not an extension, it's actually a separate building. And from what I was reading in the design and access statement, I think it's intended to operate pretty much as a separate operation, which my only concern with that was over parking, really, because if you've got 2 different homes, presumably you're going to have more staff and therefore more parking, and potentially, of course, with 24 bedrooms, you're going to have more visitors. And I know parking was something that concerned us when we went out on the site visit the previous time. But other than that, I couldn't really see anything, because we've already, you know, there's already something very similar which has been given permission. So I think we're a little bit hands tied. But Sheila.
Yeah, on the plans of the, not the ones that Lizzie's got up now, but the floor plans, I couldn't quite understand what the green, there's a green line. And as I don't have X-ray eyes and I didn't have a magnifying glass, I couldn't look at the index on the side and see what that green line is.
I think the green line is just indicating the existing building, I think.
But
Oh no,
new
sorry,
building.
but sorry, I'm wrong. It's I'm looking at it the wrong way around. It's the what has been previously approved.
Right. Okay. I mean, I would agree with you. As I said to you, I know Forest Brow because my parents were in there some years ago. And it worries me that the new building is going to block the view of some of the existing rooms in the old block. It's coming pretty close. And knowing as I do how much space there is now, that's not leaving a lot of space. So those existing rooms are going to be quite dark.
Right.
And as with you, having been there before and tried parking was difficult when there was just the existing house. Short of knocking down various trees and borders and goodness knows what, I'm a bit doubtful about the proposed parking spaces. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great place, Forest Brow. Oh, and by the way, the Reverend Coley got in touch with both Nick and I, presumably because we live in this forest, to say he thought it was wonderful and that we should all be encouraging this, and people need good homes like this. And I agree, from our experience as a family, it was a good place to be. But yes, I am rather worried about the parking.
No, it's a good point. So
yes, I too, it's the whole parking issue. And of course, we're scuppered to some extent because the National Park still hasn't got an adopted parking scheme. So we're reliant on East Hants parking scheme, which is what they're using, but it's not the adopted for us parking scheme. So no. we are hands tied a bit, but it is a problem, not just for the parking for the residents and on site, but as we pointed out before, the large lorries, the waste lorries, and when you've got that many residents, whether they're one or two separate units, the number of people needing feeding requires a large amount of delivery lorries for food. I know that because I have a home along the road from me, and daily there are very large breaks vans going in delivering food. And I think the proposal for these large lorries, including the waste lorry, is that they back into the site. That's what I think the plans say.
Yes, I can add a little bit onto that, in that having had a discussion with the planning officer, Norse have said that their view is that they wouldn't be happy backing into the site, but they would be happy just stopping on Forest Road and wheeling the bins out to the road. But what's not clear on that to me is whether Norse would do that or whether the home would do that.
Exactly, and you've still got other larger lorries going in.
Oh,
there's
agreed.
no turning.
No
turning on site, and any large lorry that's pulled into the drive, or either it's forwards or backwards, if you're parked in the back, you're not going to be able to get out past them
No,
while
that's
they're
very
there.
true.
So I think it remains a major issue, is the parking. But as I said, it's a problem because South Wales National Park hasn't got a parking scheme.
Yeah.
The one improvement on the previous plan is they have put a few trees in on the Forest Road boundary.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
But you know, they're not many. But I think I still think it's an excessive bulk and mass. And on the street scene in the winter, I think we should continue, say we welcome the fact that they put in a few trees, but we're still concerned about the extent of the density and the scale of the mass, and go on a bit about the parking.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
When I read the documents, there was also stuff about questions not answered on drainage and ecology.
Yeah,
you're
right.
And they were not trivial questions. That concerns me a bit, that it appears the application is a bit deficient in information.
No, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I did go on the site visit the last time, some years ago, when we did it. I'm not sure I can remember the site that well, but it just seems to me it's trying to cram too much onto the site.
Yeah, I would agree.
May I come back, please?
Yes, of course.
Yes, on the drainage thing, I think in case they are minded to approve it, one of the comments said that the drainage must be carried out before the permission is granted and not left to a condition. I think that's important. The other thing was, I couldn't really understand it well enough, but there did seem to be an awful lot of lighting. There was a lighting scheme, one of the plans, which I didn't quite, but I didn't understand whether that was, it was very technical, whether it was lighting from the building out or whether they were going to put a lot of lights all around it.
Right.
But yeah. I would like to ask that we make sure that the relevant officers are satisfied that there will not be adverse impact of lighting.
Yes, I think that's a good point. Okay, so I'm sensing then that we want to say strong objection on the ground of we're concerned about the mass of the building. We're very concerned about parking and access, and also about drainage, and that we'd like confirmation that the night skies officer's happy with the lighting.
Yes, it's too technical for us to understand. Yeah. Do we want to include Sheila's point about loss of light to the residents?
Yes, I think that's worth saying. Well, actually, I'd forgotten that, but yes, I think you're right. So we can also say we're not concerned about the shading effect of the building onto the existing bedrooms on that side of the current building.
When we're talking about parking, should we add something about visiting commercial vehicles, lorries?
Yes, I think that's probably worth putting in. Yeah, the concern about access for heavy commercial vehicles. Well, it's a shame in a way, because I think there's something that could be done with that site if they were just a bit less ambitious.
Well, can we say that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can say that we you know, our feel is that there is scope for development there, but not something of that bulk. I mean, if it was a single story development, even it would perhaps be better. Although none of them, though, this is the problem. None of the things with the extension there absolves the parking and traffic issues. So
when we went and looked on site, we were very keen to look and see how they could create a turning space.
Yes,
which would mean not necessarily you know, taking the building back in order to
Mm.
create a turning space near the entrance.
That's right, actually. Yes, you're right. So I remember that now. So, yeah, okay. So we'll move on to the next one then, which is 6 the Green. You might remember we had an application from Liss not so long ago where they applied for a larger extension. We objected. They went to appeal and they lost the appeal. So they've now come back with a revised plan, which is still in excess of 30%, but it is only 35% on top of the existing size. So it's for a proposed 2-story extension and a new access driveway with parking.
Well, it's still over the, you know, the SD 31. It's still 35%.
Yeah.
I was tempted to say no for this because the people who drew up their plan, I got so fed up with their misuse of apostrophes that I felt like refusing it altogether. But I think it's still over.
Yeah, and without good reason. The argument that they're a growing family and they go to school unless you still bought a house that you can't extend too much.
I think it's rather crowding the site. It's the extension is on the side of the neighbours, but I just feel it's putting too much on that site.
Yeah, and sets the precedent for all of the neighbours to do exactly
Well,
the same.
that is true. Yeah. What do you think, Sue?
Well, I would agree with what everybody said. I mean, it is a tricky one because it is only just over. And so I went back and looked at the inspector's decision very carefully. And he was very clear about the purpose of the policy, which is to meet an identified need for smaller housing within the area. And, you know, we need 2- and 3-bedroomed houses. We don't want them all to be created into 4-bedroomed houses. And we haven't got what we need, what we've identified. And so, and he did point out, I think very clearly, that the applicant had not put in an exceptional case in the terms that are asked for in the policy. And that remains exactly the same. So I think given that it could set a difficult precedent, we do need to object.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one because it is close.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you know, I think as well that, you know, if, you know, I accept what the architect says about, you know, if it was only 30%, then the rooms would be small and unusable. Well, that's surely a question of just looking at how you arrange the layout internally. That's not a planning issue.
Yeah,
so,
build your own suite, then they'll make it.
Who told Birchwood Design that an increase of 35% would be acceptable? Because they were claiming that a planning officer had approved 35%. Didn't say which.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I suspect it's probably more along the lines that they've spoken to a planning officer who said, "Oh, 35%. Yeah, that'll probably be okay." But so I think then we're going to say we're going to maintain our objection. We're taking our objection on the principle of the policy that is the 30%.
There was, can I just point out, there was a bit of a debate about what was the existing footprint size.
Yes.
And particularly in the appeal, it was, you know, they weren't really able to agree what was the.
No, because
the inspector wouldn't.
There is this debate.
So I think we need to.
Yeah, because there is this debate about whether
it might actually end up with 35% if they go back to what they were thinking before.
Because it does depend whether you include the covered area outside the back door as part of the building or not. I just say I can sit on the fence. Sit on the fence. That's a bad term in this case, but I can see both sides of the argument on that one. And as you say, so it could go either way. But I think we maintain our objection because the principle of the policy and the fact that the policy is not just about the 30%, it is about maintaining a variety of homes of small houses. Okay, so then we move on to the final one for tonight, which is Dawslands, Willow Close, Hillbrow, Liss, which is a retrospective application for the retention of the treehouse. Sue and Howard will probably remember that this is, I think, the second application we've had over certainly my time that I've been on planning of a treehouse. I'd got to say that my personal view is that I don't see a problem with it. To me, if the neighbours have cut down the trees and now they can see it, well, the neighbours knew it was there, and so tough would basically be my line, I think. But what do others think?
I'm right there with you.
Sheila, what do you think?
Well,
This is clearly a neighbour dispute, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a planning issue.
I think to me, there seemed to be an amount of animosity there that goes deeper than just this planning application.
I think you're probably right, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can't see anything wrong with children using a treehouse infrequently. And as you say, if those other people wanted to cut down their trees, well, they have to put up with what's on the other side of the trees, I suppose.
Yeah. Howard?
Yes, I find this difficult. I don't think I perhaps want to live in a neighbouring property where you've got kids that high up overlooking you. On the other hand, I'm not sure it's that damaging. So I'm a bit indecisive. Probably just in favour of keeping it, I think.
Okay, so I think then you. Sorry, Sue.
Well, they've got plenty of land. They could actually move it, I guess.
Well, I guess so.
To another part of the. But I don't see any reason why they should, for all the reasons that everybody's already said.
Okay, so I think then we're just.
Why exactly are the neighbours complaining? I know they say that it's quite high, which it is, but it doesn't look as though it's that close to their house.
It's not, and I mean, in fact, the document with it makes the point that it's further away than the building needs to be away from the boundary. I mean, something like 44 meters, I think, away from the boundary. So it's not exactly sort of massively prominent in their eye line. So I think then I hope I'm right saying we're going to say no objection on this one.
I would agree.
Okay, so that's all the applications.
I'm glad you did, because I've got something similar and I haven't actually got planning in my mind.
You are being recorded.
But mine is not in a tree house. It's not a.
I mean, I think it's the sort of thing that lots of people have got. You know, people put things in their garden for children to play in, and I don't know. I think it's a bit over the top, really.
We get on with all our neighbours as well.
Oh, but somebody could move out or move in. Right, okay, so if we move on to applications approved, the one that has been approved, which personally I feel a little bit about, is 96 Station Road, which is what used to be Harvey Solicitors, where they've now got change of use from A2 offices to 2 flats C3, because they were also able to bring in this deed of variation on the parking. and argue that they didn't need to provide that parking for St Peter's Church out at West Liss, which is what they have been providing, because there is parking in the area around St Peter's Church if people parked in the HDC car park. So it is what it is. It's been given permission, but personally, I'm a little unhappy about it. But we live with it. Move on.
The HDC car park there is not that big.
No.
And I think probably in practical terms, nobody ever uses 96 Station Road for parking to go to church on a Sunday.
I think you're probably absolutely right, Howard. Yeah.
But it was a bit of a fiddle to get their planning permission for the
Yes.
church.
I mean, the point to my mind is that the church would not have got their planning permission without the parking spaces.
Exactly.
But there you go. They've now been given it. They've paid the fee. They've paid East Hampshire District Council the sum of £18,000, and they've got their permission. So we then move on down to South Downs National Park applications refused, appeals and appeals decisions. There's none on the agenda, but one which I'm aware of that came in towards the end of last week, which I will just update people on, is Rodder Farm, which is the land out where the Christmas trees are at the end of Anderdash Road, which may remember put in an application to have lorries in there and storage, and we refused the application, or we recommended refusal. The National Park refused the application. The applicant appealed and they lost their appeal. So they're not going to be able to have their lorries in there, which I think is a good result overall.
So which was the site?
It's the site at the end of Anderdash Road, Howard.
Okay, yeah, okay, right. I thought you were going to say I did something different, and I heard something different.
Right.
I wasn't listening properly.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
No problem. Then we got TPO applications, which obviously been referred to the tree warden as normal. And the TPO application is approved. The monitoring of the Liss neighbourhood development plan, we still have not had a meeting with Chris Passer, so I will chase him again. I'm actually kicking myself on that because I was actually talking to Tim Slaney this afternoon. I could have thrown it into that conversation, but I forgot all about it. We got an update on Carla's development on Anderdash Road. As you'll know, the development is progressing fairly at speed now. It's going to progress even more at speed because the developers, Carla, are taking advantage of something the government's brought in, which is enabling sites to increase their operating hours. And so Carla have put in to say that instead of being 7:30 till 6 Monday to Friday, they want permission to be 7:30 till 8 Monday to Friday. And on Saturdays, instead of being 8 AM to 1 PM, they want to be 7:30 AM to 6 PM. Still no development on Sundays or public holidays.
It'll be dark.
And that to run until the 1st of April 2021. There have been quite a few objections in from residents on Anderdash Road, perhaps not surprisingly, mainly centered on not so much the weekday one, but unhappy about having the noise of construction all day on Saturday, which I can have some sympathy with. Equally though, I'm aware of the fact that the government are pressing for developers to be able to be given this permission. I don't know what the decision is going to be. It's down to an officer decision, but the decision has to be made very quickly because the rules the government have brought in say that the National Park has, I think it's 10 days to decide the application, and if they don't make a decision in 10 days, then the builders have automatically got approval for the new hours. So I suspect they will get the new hours. I don't know, but we wait and see. But just be aware that they put in that application, so if anyone asks, that you're aware.
Aside, you know, the parking, the school parking, the cross. We've sent a letter to HCC executives with the Highways Committee, because we're not happy with the placement and the safety placement there. So, you know.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Lizzie. Consultations on reform of the planning system and training. Well, we'll deal with that on Wednesday. And then the Civil Aviation Authority have got another consultation out for flight path changes to Heathrow Airport, but how it affects Lasham Airport specifically for us. I have inquired at East Hants. At East Hants, we're just keeping our standing objection that we put in last time when there was last a consultation on this. And as Sue will know, whenever the Civil Aviation Authority do these consultations, they roll on for a few years before anything's decided anyway. So we wait and see. With the present situation, of course, in the whole world of aviation, it may be that the extra slots won't be needed anyway. So we wait and see on that one. It doesn't have any direct impact on Liss. So we come to any other business. I don't have anything, so I'll go around. Claire, anything?
Nothing from me.
Howard?
No.
Sheila?
Nothing from me.
Sue?
Do we have any feedback about parking standards, when the national park might be getting them up and running?
There is a it's something I discussed with Tim Slaney, not today, but a previous conversation. There's a working party at the national park working on it. The expectation is that sometime this year they will issue a supplementary planning document on it, now that they've got the other supplementary planning document on sustainable construction out of the way.
This year?
This year.
So before the end of the year?
I presume so, yeah.
Good. Can't come soon enough.
No, I agree.
Good. We've had several recently which have been scuppered by parking.
Yeah, and it's a problem right across the park. I mean, I think it's, in a way, it's somehow slipped through the net that it wasn't there in the local plan, I think. So with that, I'm going to close the meeting at 8:10. And the next meeting's on the 12th of October. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending, and I'll see you all on Wednesday.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Do we have sign-ins for Wednesday?
No, because it's just an informal training session. So, oh, sorry. Do you mean Zoom sign-in? Sue?
Yes.
Lizzie sent them out, I think, but can you send them out again, Lizzie?
I'll send them out again.
All right, thank you.
But yeah, we don't need to go through the whole I am regime on Wednesday. So, but do come on, do come on with a pen and paper, and feel free to ask any questions, and ones I can't answer, I'll take away and get answers to, but hopefully I can answer most of them. So I'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye all.
Thank you. Bye.